All right, ladies and gentlemen, fellow cultivators. Public service announcement before I get into the very last bit of heaven. This will probably be the last video until I hit Profound Immortal. I am halfway there, sort of. At half Immortal 5 at the moment, so I see that taking another week or two. I'm going to drop down tiers in sect in order to become its sub leader and start cultivating for 5 hours down there instead of 2.5. But that'll come when that'll come. I'll also be doing a different phone game actually soon, since people seem to like, these guides so much. Can't really argue with that. Hopefully that one will go well too. Hope you'll all watch it, subscribe, and now we're going to go back into Rome. Now, a couple of things I need to mention that I forgot once again in the last video. I always find stuff that I could have added on in the last one, but I'll just again add it on here. In Spirit Pact, not Spirit Pact, sorry, in Soul Wandering, you'll see Servant Insight, and you'll get a certain amount of Servant XP every time you finish wandering in the area that you've explored. Now that is, as you probably already guessed, the total amount of insight that all your servants have combined. And obviously you want that to be as high as possible to get the most XP possible, because you're going to need it. There's a lot of XP involved in this game. Now, another thing is, I mentioned that when I first did Cloud Realm, it was a depressing experience because I accidentally went too high in Malevolence, Deterrence, instead of putting my points evenly in Faith and Deterrence. And I believe it's actually rather new, because I haven't seen it there before, but I'll just jump into Cloud Realm. Deterrence 100, Faith 20, right? Now, below that you see Retravel. Now, apparently, you can actually revisit the whole realm and redo the balance of Deterrence and Faith. So if you've just come up here and you messed up, you did too much Deterrence, not enough Faith, and you're struggling with setting up your array, then I highly recommend doing that retravel. I'm pretty sure it's new, but I'm not sure if retraveling you will be forced to re-spend all your resources. So if you are going to do it, you're probably going to have to spend quite a bit of resources to get that done. But it's nice to know anyway, it's just in case. I was literally stuck on that array for weeks because I couldn't do the second one because the difficulty level is very high. Now, Hell. Hell is also going to be ridiculously hard when you first come up here. If you break the array by yourself, with your own effort, and you don't get a guided ascension, you could probably immediately do the first Hell one, because each one of these is incredibly powerful. I only just beat Land of the End maybe last week. I can't give you an example of the boss because I've used up all my tokens, and I'll tell you why I use all them up, even though they cost me 100 merits per try. So, Hell is going to be a very important thing that you're going to want to be on top of every day, because this is where it'll tie back into your Immortal Beasts in the Hell market. This is basically where you get everything to do with Immortal Beasts. It just, all of the stuff. All of the stuff. Now, when you first get up here, you're only going to be able to get something like 70 a day, maybe 70 a day. And even then, obviously that's not much. It's going to take you a solid 2 weeks to save up for one of these Immortal Beasts, but they are 2-star. So once you get up here, you probably are going to want to save 1,000 for your first 2-star Immortal Beast. On the journey to get that 1,000, you will likely get a 1-star beast like I did, the Flood Dragon. And, that's worth having until, well, they're all worth having. Any ones you can get your hand on are worth having. I mean, I don't spend my Hell tokens, Hell Jades, I should say, on anything other than these Immortal Beasts. Now, I'm not sure if you can have multiple Immortal Beasts of the same kind, but until I have a massive surplus of like Hell Jades and I have all of these beasts, I'm not gonna press my luck and use it only to find out that I can't actually do anything with it. Now, these for your Heaven Int pills to upgrade the percentages your Immortal Beasts give you. After you get your first, second star beast, I would say that's definitely worth it, as well as these soul clearing herbs to help refresh your talent in order to get the highest amount possible. So you'll see a max and then a number, and that's the max that the number on the left of it can be. So you may have to use a few soul clearing herbs in order to get the max, but it is worth doing regardless. Now, that's obviously to add an extra slot to Immortal Beasts. You've got to have quite a few to have to worry about getting a beast color. But yeah, Immortal Beast Forage, that's your XP intimacy for your Immortal Beast. Now, these can only be applied to servants riding the beasts themselves. You can't actually give an intimacy to your beast that you're riding, because when you give intimacy to a beast, it increases the stats that it provides to the servants themselves. So again, worth getting, but again, you really want to have a Immortal Beast on a servant and on yourself before you start delving into the other rewards. Just focus on pushing for these Immortal Beasts, because the stat gains that you get because through it is just very worth it. Now, Demon Tower. Demon Tower. Yeah, Demon Tower and Outer World are very closely linked, because I'll start with Outer World, then I'll go into Demon Tower. So Outer World is where you're going to be using all of your spirit troops, and your effectiveness out here is going to be measured by the total amount of might you have. As you can see up the top there, that red icon M, and then a number next to it is the total amount of might that all my characters have. Under it is the amount of spirit troops that I currently have. 8 million's not really that much, but it's enough to show you how Outer World works. So I'm on level 35 at the moment, not very high, but not too low, really. As you go through these roam things, you will unlock more plans for your inventory, your talisman. You will unlock these plans through roam as you progress forward, so I do recommend, look at the stat bonuses this gives me. Absolutely brilliant. Every single one is obviously worth getting, but it is going to take a little while when you first start, because you can't produce that many spirit troops to begin with. But regardless, the way this works is you go into it and you verse someone. Well, it's a bot basically. There's 8 battles and you have to win them all, obviously, but each battle you win you will get servant XP, which is nice if you can constantly afford to do this and not lose too many spirit troops. So you'll see the might on the left and the might on the right is obviously the respective might of myself and the enemy. Each battle you win, it's going to get harder. So I'm just going to smash him. I lost 15,000 men there. Doesn't seem like much, but it adds up, because now it's got 92,000 might for the enemy. I'll skip it. 118. And so on until you start losing like 50k each. Now, when you're in lower levels, obviously you're not going to lose that many, but the big takeaway here is that you are going to need quite a few spirit troops, and you're going to need a decent might. The higher your might compared to the bot that you're versing is going to reduce the amount of spirit troops that you lose, but you cannot reduce the amount you lose to 0. It's impossible. Don't try and wait until you've got higher might. You need to push this as fast as you can and as hard as you can, because those items that they give you, the blacksmith plans, are a very important source of stats, like literally tens of thousands once you start getting Heaven Origin upgrade materials, which will be in the next thing I'm about to show you, or at least a good source of them. So I'll quickly push through this in order to give you an example of what happens when you reach the end of one of the roams. Now, see, I've already lost 450,000 men, and it's rough. And then every third level you have to verse a boss. This one's 375,000 might. There's 132k men lost, 185k men lost, and a whole nother big fight. And at the very end of each roam, you will have to face a boss that you are not going to fight with your spirit troops. you will actually have to fight them with your servants. Now, your servants have to be strong enough to kill this feathered serpent demon, so all of their total prestige added together needs to be higher than the boss on the other side. Now, I'm hoping I kill this. I should do. It's a pretty strong boss. Oh, God. Okay, yeah, cool. So I beat it, I got rewards, and I've now captured another demon beast. And I'll show you that in a second. But every time you pass a roam, you'll get a gift from the villagers. Now, this gift from the villagers is going to be where they'll give you the plans for your talisman after you get into this area and push through it. And every time you pass a floor, you will get rewards. You know, this is some of the best sort of rewards you can get. Blood essences, you know, always good. Now, when you have the men, you do ideally want to just press forward and get as far as you can every day. You know, I wouldn't, like, personally, I don't bother with travel yet, still, because in the last video you saw, I only had 800,000 men. Before that, I had 7.5 million, just before I started recording, because I wanted to see what happens when I got to round 10. And I lost pretty much all of them. I was down to about 300k. And I'm assuming that's because my might isn't really that high at the moment, and the amount of spirit troops you have to fight around 10 is like 1.2 million alone, on top of it being nearly 500k might. And, you know, not ideal, but obviously traveling is, I don't want to say pay to win, because you can grind your way there, but it's going to take a while to do it effectively, because you have to do it every day. Even when you unlock auto traveling, you still have to do that fight every day, and that's still going to cost you millions of men every day. So the more it costs you to do every day, the more spirit packs you'll need, the more spirit troops you'll need to make, and it's just a vicious cycle. And at the end of the day, all your stats for your servants need to be just as high as possible, you know. Now, Demon Tower. Demon Tower is starting from, I can't click it at the moment because I'm already quite far past it, but that strange looking one at the start is the one you'll first unlock, I believe, at Rome 5. Now, every floor you clear will give you 25 sealing power and increase 25 sealing power that you gain per day. And you'll see down the bottom, my daily output is 875. It'll cost 10 per seal, and each seal will take a certain percentage off of the boss itself. The higher you go, the less the percentage will be taken off per seal, which is why 875 a day may seem like a lot, but all it gets me is 3 bosses in. So, you know. But you do want to do this as much as possible every single day, ideally. You have enough leeway to leave it for 2 days, so your current sealing power hits max, and then you can come on and smash it and you won't really lose out. But any longer than 2 days, and you're going to start losing out on rewards, because these guys will give you every reward ranging from increased servant power, you know, command, insight, intellect, all that, down to growth pills, spirit packs, spirit troops, you know, the list goes on. Huge list, and you really want to do this every day just because it's worth it. Now, we are almost coming pretty much to the end of this. Now, I do want to say one thing before I go into closed door cultivation, I guess, is that in Immortal Capital, down here, the Spirit Holding Palace will unlock at Profound Immortal. If you can, during the events, I think they're usually sold for about 3k event coins. Save up for these. You will need them. You will need as many as you can get, from what I can gather. Like, they are critically important in Profound Immortal, but obviously I don't know yet. I will find out once I get there. Shouldn't take me too long once I drop down to get that double sect, you know, power. In Immortal Pavilion, I'm not sure if I've covered this, but this is basically the same as Market down below. There is a servant down the bottom for 600k Celestial Stones. I am sort of saving up for that, but at the same time, I'm also buying armor plans, because you need celestial armor. Celestial armor is rank 5 blacksmith, with level 2 celestial armor being rank 6 blacksmith, but you're not going to get level 2 celestial armor till you hit Rome 3, I think it is, possibly Rome 4. And yeah, and it is expensive because free to play getting those celestial stones are very difficult. And 600k for this, oh, I want it so bad, but I just cannot afford it, not even halfway, you know. Same deal with sutras. As I said, heaven's just a hell of a lot more expensive, you know, 185k each. No way around it. If you want them, you're going to have to save up for them. I haven't got them yet because I had so much else to spend, spirit stones on, and it's just the way it is. I figure that I can always come back and get these skills long term wise, but yeah, that's just a personal decision there. Treasure Pavilion, this is similar to the market in Heaven Sect. Again, you got all your pill formulas, except instead of 3.5k merits, they're going to cost you 20k spirit stones, which, I mean, not too bad of a cost for what you get. And obviously, each one of these will reset every day, so you can get new ones. But again, you really do have to manage your spending in heaven when it comes to spirit stones. Otherwise, you'll be perpetually poor in the short to medium term. Spirit Jade Pavilion, same thing. You see, I've learned all of these Dragonet pieces and Dragon pieces. Thank you to... Oh wow, you can buy some stuff here. So expensive. Oh my god. But I learnt most of these through in Rome, and you go into there and then the peddler. Again, absolutely amazing price. 30k when you get these books. Absolutely amazing. I would recommend it 100-fold. But that is what it is. Now, I think I will leave this last episode for now here. Leave a comment, asking a question if you want me to do anything more. Give me a suggestion for any games to do, actually, as well, so I can jump into them and start a walkthrough on that too. I do enjoy myself a phone game, But other than that, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video, really. Enjoy your day.